to the Who Dat Nation. Welcome to the Dome Patrol podcast, your podcast for the New Orleans Saints here on the KB Radio Network. I am your humbled host, Kevin Reed, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen of the Who Dat Nation. I know we've been on a little break due to the New Orleans Saints having their bye week in week 12 of the NFL season, but we are back. The Saints are set to take on the Los Angeles Rams this Sunday, 3 o'clock in the Caesars Superdome. The Saints are currently 4-7 and went into the bye week after winning 2 straight games, something they haven't done since the first 2 weeks of the season after they fired head coach Dennis Allen. Darren Rizzi steps in as interim head coach, and he is currently undefeated as the head coach of the New Orleans Saints, and probably has his toughest task ahead of him this week as they take on the Los Angeles Rams, who are 5-6 on the season thus far, coming off a just devastating beatdown this past week, courtesy of the Philadelphia Eagles, or should I say Saquon Barkley. He destroyed the Los Angeles Rams in that game. But these two teams are set to go head to head this Sunday. It's gonna be an interesting game. Last time the Saints played the Rams, it was a Thursday night game, I believe, last season, when the Rams just destroyed the Saints. It wasn't even close. It was embarrassing, really. But that was under the tutelage of Dennis Allen. Will there be a different result with Darren Rizzi wearing the headset on the sideline? I don't know. We shall see. But of course, this episode is coming a little earlier this week because of the Thanksgiving holiday. I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. I hope that they enjoy the turkey, the dressing, and the sweet potato pies and all of that good stuff that comes with Thanksgiving, with your family watching football, and it's a joyous time, and I hope that everybody enjoys it, and I hope and pray that it's not ruined this Sunday when we watch the Saints. I'm really kind of encouraged with this game. I'm not predicting that we will win, but I'll get to that later. But I'm encouraged going into this game. The Saints are in a position right now to probably do something of note. You know, it's not to the degree of making a run to the Super Bowl. That shipped and sailed. I'm not even talking about winning the division, going to the playoffs, but just I guess regaining some manhood, regaining some respect throughout the league, because it's embarrassing. At one point this season, the Saints were the worst team in football. They looked like the worst team in football because they were the worst team in football. But, it's encouraging these last 2 weeks, defeating Atlanta, defeating the Browns, kind of had a new vibe about the team, how they came together and took care of business. Now, these weren't two great teams that they played, don't get me wrong. That's why this is really the litmus test for the Saints this week. Now, the Rams are kind of backs against the wall as well. They're only one game better than us, and so it's not like they are the Rams of old. It's not like the Rams that we took on in that NFC Championship game that we were robbed of. No, we're a far cry from that, but they are still a very good team. They still have a lot of weapons on that team. You still have Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua. There are some weapons on that team that the Saints will have to contend with this week. But my main concern is the fight in the New Orleans Saints. Don't lay down like they laid down in previous weeks, like you laid down against the Chargers, like you laid down against Denver, so on and so forth. I don't want those performances. I want to fight. I want a game where it actually looks like you want to win. And that's all I can ask for from these New Orleans Saints. Uh, it's been said time and time again. During that 7-game losing streak, I had checked out emotionally. So I'm not looking for anything greater than great effort. That's all I'm not looking for playoffs and all this other stuff. That didn't leak out of my system. Now, if a miracle happens and it happens, good, good. That's great. But I'm not looking for it. So I'm really looking for effort here. And for the most part, for the last 2 weeks, that's what we've gotten. And I'm happy. I'm pretty sure the Who Dat Nation is happy. Everybody is rallying around Darren Rizzi. Rightfully so. Rightfully so. I'm still not prepared to take the interim off. I'm still not prepared for that. I think the Saints still need to do their due diligence and try to find the best guy to lead us to a championship. Darren Rizzi, so far so good, but I haven't seen enough yet, and this would help. This game would help if you can go out here after having 2 weeks to prepare, 2 weeks to prepare, and defeat this formidable team. Hey, then we can start kind of chirping a little bit about Darren Rizzi vying for a head coaching position here, but we shall see. This is also the New Orleans Saints' third straight game in the Dome. After it felt like we was about a month that we didn't play a home game, we finally got 3 games in a row here at the Dome. And after this, we take our show on the road to New York City to take on the Giants, but we got to take care of this. And the reason why this is kind of a big game I want to touch in on, you look at the remaining 5 games left in this season and ask yourself, is it possible? Is there hope that the Saints can do something to kind of win this division? Granted, we're only 2 games out of first. We're only 1 game behind Tampa, 2 games behind Atlanta, who we beat. And so that is going to be the question mark going forward. Like I said, we have the Rams this Sunday. You have the Giants next Sunday, Commanders, Green Bay, Raiders, and Tampa. I'm not 100% confident. I can't say with my whole chest that the Saints will, pull off a miracle, because the Saints can really, mathematically, only afford to lose maybe 1 more game going forward. And I'm looking at 3 losses. I'm looking at 3 losses out of these last 6. Sunday against the Rams, as much as I think the Saints will put up a good effort, I don't think they're going to beat the Rams. I think the Rams are going to come in highly motivated. I think they're going to come out with their hair on fire, because let's not forget they're playing for their playoff lives as well. And so it's not like they're tanking the season. So they still are playing with hopes of making the playoffs as well. And that's a scary, scary situation. The Giants, they cut their quarterback. They let Saquon Barkley just walk out the door before the season even started. They're done, and they look done. And I think Saints will win that game. But Commanders, that's a loss. Commanders look really, really good. Even though they lost this past Sunday, they looked good even in that loss. So I'm not 100% confident with that. Green Bay, in Green Bay, Monday night, frozen tundra, 2 days before Christmas, that's a loss. The Raiders, we beat the Raiders, and then you end it with Tampa. At that point, does it really even matter? I would love to say we end on a good note, beat Tampa, but I don't know, and I don't know what we'll be playing for at that point. But that's the way I see it laid out going forward. Maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully I'm wrong. I'm not cheering for the Saints to lose, but I'm just looking logically at the situation. But before we get to all that, we have the Rams. And the Rams, like I said before, they're playing for the playoff lives as well. They're 5-6. They're one game out of first place in their division. So you know that they are going to come here and try to get this victory. You know, it's not even a game for them. I mean, seriously. I mean, they were one game out, coming off an embarrassing loss. They're gonna want to kind of hurry up, and you know how it is. When you lose a game, you want to hurry up, get back on the field to kind of correct those mistakes that you made in the last game. We don't have a Saquon Barkley. I love Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara gonna do his thing. Even Taysom Hill, he may get loose, but both of them smashed together is not Saquon Barkley this season. If you watch football, if you don't have your head under a rock and you've been watching football all year, Saquon Barkley, hands down, in my humble opinion, is the MVP of this league. I know MVP is a mostly a quarterback award. Bruh, Saquon Barkley is a beast. Hey, we played him earlier this season. We saw what he did to us, you know, and that's with us pretty much bottling him in the first half. Well, we didn't really bottle him in. They didn't give him the ball until the second half, and then when he got the ball, my God, it was murder she wrote. But the dude is phenomenal. He's spinning off of people, backwards hurdling people, trucking people, getting 150 to 200 yards rushing a game. This dude is phenomenal. And the New York Giants just let him walk out the door. That's amazing to me. But that's Saquon Barkley. But yeah, he's gonna do that to defenses. So I don't hold the Rams defense accountable for that because he's been doing that to everybody. And so this week, going up against a Taysom Hill, who had a phenomenal game against the Browns. You know, I mean, I think he was offensive player of the week that week. He tore the Browns apart. I don't know if he's going to be able to do it again. Hopefully he will, but I don't know if he's going to be able to do it. This is a well-coached team. They watch film. They know that this offense basically revolves around Taysom Hill. And if Taysom Hill can't get it going, this offense doesn't get it going. I found that out earlier. I thought it was built around Alvin Kamara, but I was wrong. It's built around Taysom Hill. And if Taysom Hill is not getting loose in some shape, form, or fashion, this offense struggles big time. And so if you take away Taysom Hill, which I'm pretty sure the Rams are going to try to do, every team is going to try to do, you leaving it up to Derek Carr. And Derek Carr I know he has his fans, and God bless you if you're a fan of Derek Carr, but Derek Carr, I have zero faith Derek Carr can take over a team, take over a game, I should say, and lead the team to a victory. I have zero faith in it because I haven't seen it. Not as a Saint. Now, he probably did it as a Raider, and I didn't notice, but as a New Orleans Saint, he has yet to do it. And I have zero faith that he will be able to do it in the event that a defense will take away a Taysom Hill, take away a Alvin Kamara, take away your deep threats and your number one receiver, which has been done, and Derek Carr has struggled. So we have that. The good news is we saw in the Cleveland Browns game that Eric McCoy, he returned from that groin injury after being on IR. But late in that game, he re-aggravated it or tweaked it a little bit, and he had to come out the game. Now, after the game, Darren Rizzi and Eric McCoy said he could have went back in the game because you could tell during the game when they showed him on the sideline, he was hot. He was hot. He wanted to get back in the game, but the coaches held him back. I think it was more a precaution thing. He could have got back in the game, but at that point, the Saints were in control. It really didn't make sense to put him back in there and risk him being hurt further. And so he is expected to play for this game. So with that being said, let's go over our injury report going into Sunday's matchup against the Rams. Really don't have much of an injury report. We have some good news I don't see on here. Now, granted, like I said, this show is coming out early. And so probably later in the week, might have some names that pop up that may not be playing or may pop up as questionable or something like that. So just be on the lookout for the injury report. But as it stands right now, Saints only have 3 players who are questionable for Sunday's matchup against the Rams, and that is running back Jamal Williams, guard Lucas Patrick, and guard Eric McCoy. They are all 3 questionable for Sunday's game. Going over the statistics for both teams, league statistics, I should say, Saints are 4-7, Rams are 5-6. Scoring average, the ranking for the New Orleans Saints are 11. For the Rams, 20th. Opponent scoring average, Saints are ranked 20th, Rams 26th. Total offense, Saints are 11, Rams are 17th. Rushing offense, Saints are 9th. The Rams are 26th in the league rushing. And that's a shock to me because they got a really good running back there. And so it's kind of a shocker that they're ranked that low in the league. Passing offense, Saints are 17th. The Rams are 9th. That's not a shocker. Total defense, Saints 31st in the league. 1 away from the worst overall. The Rams not too far off with 26th ranked defense. Rushing defense, Saints are 25th. Rams are 28th. Passing defense, Saints are 30th. Rams are 19th. Turnover margin, Saints are a +2. They're 12th in the league. Rams are 9th in the league with a +3. Team leaders passing for the Rams, it is Matthew Stafford, 256 completions off of 385 attempts, 2,800 yards, 15 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. For the New Orleans Saints, it is Derek Carr, 145 completions on 211 attempts, 1,742 yards passing, 13 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. Leading rushers for both teams, Williams for the Rams, he has 207 carries for 822 yards and 9 touchdowns. For the New Orleans Saints, it is, of course, Alvin Kamara, 183 carries, 782 yards rushing, and 6 touchdowns. Leading receiver for both squads, Cooper Kupp for the Rams, 55 receptions, 548 yards receiving, and 5 touchdowns. The leading receiver for the New Orleans Saints as of week 16 is Alvin Kamara, 55 receptions, 443 yards, and 1 touchdown. That is mind-boggling to me. That the fact that Alvin Kamara, now I'm not knocking this, that's good, but Alvin Kamara has the same amount of catches as Cooper Kupp. That is crazy numbers to me. But as far as this game goes, I guess y'all can figure it out by now. But I'm picking the Rams to win this game. I think it's going to be close. I think this is going to be a heartfelt, physical game because both teams are kind of carbon copies of themselves on their best day. But I think as far as motivation and sense of urgency is concerned, I got to give a slight edge to the Rams because the Rams have a clearer path to their ultimate goal than the Saints do, and the Saints are in a deeper hole and a lot of variables that are going against the Saints. Let's not forget, we got a lot of players back from injury, but we still have a lot of missing pieces as well. Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, they're both on IR. There's still a lot of question marks in our secondary. There's still a lot of question marks on our defensive line. So it's it's a lot of questions. Not to say that the Rams don't have a lot of question marks as well, but it just seems like a tougher task for the Saints as far as us trying to dig ourselves out of this hole. Um, I don't know what the score was going to be. I was going to try to come up with a score, but I think it's going to be a one-score game. Hopefully I'm wrong. I'm really, it's really more of a push 'em game to me. It can go either way, but if I had to give an edge to somebody, I say the Rams. But hey, I've been wrong before. I said that the Saints were going to go 10-7 this season. Don't look like that's going to happen. So, uh, who knows, man? Who knows? I think that if the Saints got any hope into doing something of note this season, Derek Carr, it has to get his head out of his behind. Derek Carr is going to have to take his game to another level. All this, I don't know how to describe this dude, but it is not working. It's just not working, and it is frustrating to no end when it comes to Derek Carr, because I can see that the dude possesses the talent to be a top-notch quarterback. I'm not going to say elite, not going to say top 10 or all this here. No, he's far from that. That's not going to happen. But a top tier, one of the best in the league, one of the quarterbacks that you can depend on, above average and whatnot. Right now, he's slightly below average to me. He's in the same category as an Andy Dalton. He's a glorified backup quarterback. There's no quality in Derek Carr that screams a starting quarterback. None. He has a pretty deep ball, but so does Taysom Hill. So what quality does he have that screams starting franchise quarterback? He doesn't have one, but he needs to step his game up in a major way in order for us to do anything of note. I mean, keys to victory here, that's one of them. Derek Carr. Derek Carr has to do something different because what he's doing now isn't working. He has to step his game up. We have to run the ball. We have and not just rely on Taysom Hill with the run game. As much as I love to see him run over people, truck people, run for 70 yards, all that's great. All that is marvelous. But we can't just single on Taysom Hill because we're going to go up against a defense that's going to take that away. And so Alvin Kamara, if it's not the run, the screenplays, that's an extension of the run. Start incorporating that. Clint Kubiak, my brother, aside from them first 15 plays that you script out, you need to step your game up as well, because I've noticed that you take away those first 10 to 15 plays of the game that he has scripted, mapped out, and blueprinted, he is lost, man. He cannot make an adjustment to save his life. I need him to figure out how to make adjustments. When a defense take away what you thought you was going to go in this game and dominate with, I need you to come up with a contingency plan to counter that. And so far, I haven't seen that quality in him. Defensively, we need to get pressure on the quarterback. And I'm talking to you, front four. The desperate need to get pressure on Matthew Stafford. I don't know what the hiccup is. Now, granted, they've gotten better these last 2 weeks, which is a shocker, being as though the former head coach was a defensive-minded coach. But after he leaves, the pass rush gets better. Make it make sense. But it did get better, but it can be better. It still boggles my mind that Chase Young, you ever look at him line up across from an offensive lineman and stand next to the rest of the defensive line? he sticks out like a sore thumb. And not for bad reasons. I mean, he sticks out because the dude is huge and he's quick. So I don't understand how a offensive lineman who probably is giving up 4 to 6 inches on him just bullies him off the line. And the knock on Chase Young is when he goes full speed the first few plays or maybe the first few drives. Once he realized that he's not going to be able to take clear advantage of the offensive lineman that's ahead of him, in front of him, he just checks out. And you could tell he puts no effort into rushing, none of that, until maybe later on in the game he might get lucky, you know, and get a quarterback that rolls his way or something like that. But it is nothing that he just goes and hunts the quarterback. And this dude got all the physical attributes to be just, you know, how people describe Micah Parsons, who is not what people described him to be. I never was sold on that Micah Parsons thing. I think he's a good player, but the next LT, man, stop. Get away from me with that. But he is Chase Young, he could have been in that discussion at one point, but no, it's not happening. But that defensive line needs to get pressure, and we need to get it without blitzing all the time. Because number one, we can't blitz. We can't afford to blitz at this point in time because our secondary is weak. Our secondary is not as strong as it once was. You know, we don't have Paulson Adebo. He's out. We don't have Marshawn Lattimore anymore. He's in Washington. And so that secondary is a little suspect. Now, they got some good pieces in there. This is no disrespect to Alontae Taylor, who I love Alontae Taylor, but Alontae Taylor aren't those two guys. He's good, but he's not to that point yet. Rico Payton, I like him, but come on, he's not to that level yet. So blitzing leaves them exposed. But with that being said, they left exposed anyway because the safeties be out of position half the time, which another head scratcher as well. I don't know why they can't get it together in that aspect, but it's neither here nor there. With all that being said, I think the Rams will probably pull out a close one. Hopefully there's no Nola no call involved this go around. But I think that the Rams will come out victorious. But I would love to know your thoughts on the game. Do you think that the Saints would just go on this epic run? Hey, bro, crazier things have happened in the NFL. So I'm not discounting it. And trust me, I would love every second of that if it was to take place. But I would love to know your thoughts. You can let me know by contacting the show through all of our outlets, whether it's email at kbradiopodcast@gmail.com or on social media. Just search for the KB Radio Network on all social media platforms or on YouTube. Subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel on YouTube and like this video, or on all podcast listening platforms. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show. I want you all to have a happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Can't wait to speak to you on Sunday as we recap the Saints versus the Rams, 3:00 on Fox. Can't wait. The start of December, the first day of December. We are full speed ahead to the Christmas season. Boy, the time flew by, didn't it? It is officially the end of the year. My God, time flew by. But this season didn't. This was a long season in the Who Dat Nation. But it is swiftly coming to an end as well. Let's see how the New Orleans Saints finish this season. Until then, I'm going to be screaming every day, pass the cranberry sauce, and who dat?